Hey, it's me, Charlotte360. I feel like I haven't done a live in a minute. I know that I normally do lives maybe once a week, um, but I think it's been a little bit longer than that since I've done a live stream. For reasons. For reasons. I've just been really busy. Also, I have been sick. I was really sick last week. I had to take a whole day off work. I was so sick. But today, um, I wanted to do a live stream to give an update to the worst night ever, to let you know how that situation turned out, and to just talk about a couple of K-poppy things. There really hasn't been a lot of K-pop news to discuss recently, so that's why there haven't really been any live streams as well, because there's not much to talk about. Like, I was sick and I'm like, okay, with what's actually out there in K-pop news, is it really worth trying to get on the screen sniffling and sneezing and everything else? I'm like, nah, absolutely not. So there just wasn't much to talk about. And there still really isn't that much to talk about, to be quite honest with you. But we're going to talk about whatever we have anyway. Hello. So Iceman's come back. I did hear their new song, Fiesta. I have not heard the whole album. The song would have been really good for me if it wasn't for that weird noise. It's like balloon farts that happens after the chorus. I hate that sound. I absolutely hate that sound. I don't know who decided that that was what they were going to go with, but I cannot stand it. Um, there was a period in time in K-pop, which if you've been in K-pop a long time, you remember this period in time. But there was a period in time where annoying saxophone was the trend. And you would have songs and there would be this annoying saxophone riff somewhere in the song. And sometimes the annoying saxophone riff was cool and other times it was fucking annoying. Like an example of a really cool saxophone riff, hey Tony, would be like Poison by Secret, which if you've never heard Poison by Secret, you need to stop what you're doing and listen to that now. But like the whole beginning of that song was do 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 do, and it was saxophone, and I used to love that. Another cool saxophone riff would be the saxophone riff from Dope by BTS. Do 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 do, that saxophone riff. But then there's annoying saxophone riffs, and Fiesta has got this really weird synth thing that comes on after the chorus that I just can't get with. I'll try to play it. I don't know at what time stamp that will be. I just don't want to get copyright strike. I get copyright claims a lot, but I haven't gotten struck just yet, knock on wood. So I'm trying to avoid that if I can. Okay, so turn the sound down here until I get to where I need to be. This sound. What is this squeaky sound? It's like right behind the chorus. Here it is. What is that sound? I can't stand that. I cannot stand that. And that's what keeps me from liking this song. Um, Other talk regarding the IZ*ONE comeback. A lot of Korean people have been mad haterish, netizens, but at the same time, the comeback is selling very well. So netizens are full of shit, and if we haven't learned that lesson by now, we need to already. Netizens are full of shit. Like, the netizens squawk the loudest about the things they supposedly hate so fucking much, but then they turn around and spend mad amounts of money. And it's like, okay, do you hate it or not? Because they said that they hated IZ*ONE so much, but IZ*ONE has been breaking sales records for themselves. Like, they're doing really, really well. In Japan, they can't release anything that can fail. Like, they're just pulling in tons and tons of money. So if people are really that mad about everything that happened with Produce, then the girls will flop, but they're not flopping. They're actually doing really well. So it just goes to show you can't listen to netizens. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. In fact, you shouldn't even listen to me talk, because I'm sure I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. But the people who are constantly criticizing these groups about you should be ashamed to be in public knowing that you were part of a rigged system. At the end of the day, with IZ*ONE, they've already promoted several times. It would be different if they were kind of like the thing that happened with fuck, I can't even remember the boy group's name now. What the hell? The last Produce group. Oh my gosh, I cannot remember their name. All I could think of was Johan. Johan, my love. Anyway, the last produce group, the reason why everybody's like, go ahead and cancel the whole thing is because they literally only had the one mini album. And they hadn't even really got a chance to do a lot of promoting with that mini album. They didn't have any CF deals or anything like that. So it's like, okay, go ahead and disband. But now you have a group like Eyes One where they've already released a couple of releases. They've done stuff in Japan. They had CF deals. Like they needed to break down everything in order for them to disband. And it made more sense financially and business wise to just keep it going. Like it just made more sense to keep it going rather than trying to stop the train where they've already been out for a year. So that's the difference between Eyes One disbanding and X1 disbanding, which by the way, thank you Esther for reminding me of the name. I don't know why I couldn't remember it. So there's that. The next K-pop thing to talk about that people need to talk about. Oh, I'm just going to have a very brief conversation about G-Friend, and this is really, really small because I haven't even listened to G-Friend's new song. I don't track G-Friend anymore, so that's the reason why I haven't listened to it. But it was funny because there's a girl that I follow on Twitter. She's a friend. I consider her a friend, at least an online friend. Her name is Agata, and she used to be Sheep of Sheeps. I'm not sure what her new Twitter name is now, but it's Aggie Brown, basically. And she had tweeted about how like Source music being sold to Big Hit was gonna ruin girls' G-Friend, or she said like it wasn't helping G-Friend at all. And I found that to be so funny because very recently she tweeted about the fact that even though G-Friend is flopping according to netizen standards, they are winning on their comeback. They've got better promos and all this other stuff. And I just found it hilarious because I'm like, again, it just goes to show like you really have to give these things time to run their course. Like a lot of shit can seem like a really bad idea. Like I have to be honest with you. Big Hit buying all these companies, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. But you really do have to let these things run their course, see how it turns out, and then make your assumptions based on evidence rather than like, oh, there's no way they can do this, that, and the other. Well, they haven't really had a chance to try. Honestly, the only girl group that Big Hit ever had was Glam. And if Glam didn't have that one girl who was trying to blackmail, what's his name? I want to say Lee Byung Ho, but I'm sure that's not his name. Anyway, if she hadn't been trying to blackmail that actor, Glam probably would have had a chance to keep going, keep having comebacks, have a career. But because she got caught up in that blackmail scheme, it ruined the whole group. Like they could never recover from that. Their name was permanently damaged. And that's the reason why Big Hit never had another girl group. It wasn't because they couldn't do it. It's because there was such a huge scandal and controversy that they were discouraged from doing it again. Honestly, Lee Byung Han. I was close. I said Lee Byung Ho. It was Lee Byung Han. Anyway, I was close. So let me see if I can find her quote because I really do have to read it. There's nothing I can't not read it, so that's why I have to do that. It's gonna take me a minute. Talks amongst yourselves. You could talk about how I redid my sides. I've been trying to continue to keep up with getting them trimmed up and everything. I just don't like the feeling of hair around my ears. There's something about hair around my ears that bugs the ever loving crap out of me. I just can't. I just can't. So that's the reason why I make sure I get this trimmed up as often as I do. I'm still looking. She tweets a lot, so it's going to take me a minute. I'm sorry, you guys. Did y'all hear that Harry Styles got robbed at knife point? Isn't that crazy? I read about that and I'm like, why would anybody do that? First of all, he got robbed in the UK. And I'm like, who in the UK doesn't know who he is? And why would you think that it's a good idea to rob somebody that is that high profile? Like, if he even gives a hint of saying that he knows what this person looks like, it's over for them. It is literally over for them. So that's why it's just like, why would you? Why? Why would you even? But some people they just don't learn their lesson. I feel bad for him though, because Harry, honestly, I've never followed One Direction like that, but Harry Styles always seemed like a really nice guy, and it just doesn't make any sense for anybody to do anything shitty like that to him, because he seems, out of all the ones that were in One Direction after everything kind of broke up, that he's one of the ones who's like the most comfortable with where he sits in his celebrity, and he uses his celebrity in really meaningful ways. So that's the reason why I don't know why anybody would decide to pick on him like this or do shitty stuff like this to him when he seems like he's a really nice guy that just wants to do nice things for the world and enjoy being famous. Like, that's all. Okay, so this is the tweet. I finally found it. Okay, so the tweet that she put after the tweet where she was like, Big Hit's doing nothing for G Friend. She wrote, "The charts might be unkind this time, but G Friend surpassed their own sales again, got more promo activities and merch, and are already on their Crossroads sixth win. She loves this song." And I just think that's so funny because, like, she really was hating on the fact that Big Hit bought Source Music, but now, according to her, they've got better promos, better merch. It's just a better time for them. So I don't know. It just goes to show you got to give things time. So I was asked to talk about the attempted attack on Ace, which I have to ask, does anybody know what actually happened? I've read like 3 different articles about Ace's super glue attack, and I don't understand it at all. So the statement that their company released regarding the super glue attack was that the car had an attempted super glue attack. Does that mean that they were in the car and someone was outside of the car trying to spray super glue at the car? Was somebody outside of the car with super glue attempting to lock them in the car? Were they waiting to squirt super glue at the members of Ace when they got out the car? Like, there's no framework for this attack, and it's really hard to say anything about it because, like, what exactly happened? Like, I just feel like they could say more, even though they claim that they're going to be taking legal action against the people that were involved in the super glue attack. But what kind of legal action are you going to take? Because it said attempted. It said attempted. So what does that mean? A lot of netizens think that the company is making up this super glue attack because it is so very vague, which I already told you what I think about netizens. I think they're on that bullshit. So it's really hard to take them seriously at all. But when I read what the company put out there, it makes no sense to me. And I can get why the netizens would be like, this doesn't even sound real. So I'm going to read exactly what it is the company wrote. "Hello, this is Ace's agency, Beat Interactive. As there are fans concerned about the incident that occurred with Ace last night, we will explain the current situation and the upcoming plans for action. At approximately 10 p.m. last night," that's very specific, "there was a super glue terror incident targeted at Ace's vehicle by their practice room. This incident has been found to have had the intention of causing harm to the artist and damaging property by figuring out the artist's transportation time frame and route in advance. As soon as the situation was recognized, it was reported to the local police station. It is under thorough investigation with CCTV analysis, and strict punishment will be given without leniency. Due to the incident yesterday, the agency artist Ace's members Jun, Donghan, Wow, Kim Byung-kwan, and Chen are experiencing mental uneasiness and feeling fear of the same or similar situations occurring again. Therefore, Beat Interactive will take active measures to not compromise aspects related to the artist's well-being and health." Okay, they know exactly what time it happened. They're saying that CCTV footage is being put out there. The car apparently was parked near their practice room, but the way that it's described, it was a super glue terror incident. What does that mean? Then it says, "This incident has been found to have had the intention of causing harm to the artist and damaging property." The intention. So it didn't actually damage property, it was intended to damage property by figuring out the artist's transportation time frame and route in advance. How? What? So this person did the super glue incident because they knew when Ace was moving back and forth. I don't understand. I don't understand. I wish I knew more. But Sasaeng's okay, so Nose Hyun says, I do have a bit of tea about why it happened. We'll leave it in the comments. Share with the room. I don't understand what happened here. But I feel like they could be a little bit more clear. I think being as vague as they are, I get that you don't want to give out the plot just in case somebody is planning their alibi or wanting to say it wasn't that big a deal. So you don't want to give away every detail because you don't want them to like concoct a story against what you released. I get that. But at the very minimum, you could say that, the property suffered damage, or you could say, there was super glue left at the scene. Like, I just feel like there's more if you're gonna go in as far in detail as say at 10 o'clock at night such and such happened, like that's already starting to go into detail. So why wouldn't you just say like we found massive amounts of super glue outside the car, or there was super glue on the car? You don't even have to say it was on the driver's side, passenger side, roof, tires. You don't have to say all that. You could just say, we found super glue vandalism on the car. That's very simple. That's very simple. You could say that, no big deal. It's not going to compromise your case. So I really legitimately don't understand what the hell is going on. And I think that's the reason why a lot of netizens, even though, like I said, fuck netizens, don't trust them. But I think that's the reason why a lot of netizens are like, yeah, we're not sure if we should even care because they're being so vague. Like maybe nothing really happened. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Is there anything else K-pop wise that you guys want me to talk about? One thing I could talk about is accounts are made on their account that involve rumors about an Ace member having a dating scandal and okay, so they were getting attacked because of a dating scandal? That's so strange. That's really, really weird. Other K-pop news that's come up since the last time we talked, Chen wrote another letter, and it was just the dumbest thing. And I'm not saying Chen is dumb. Don't take it the wrong way. The letter he wrote is dumb. The letter he wrote is dumb. So this is the letter that Chen wrote, or at least it's been translated. And I feel like, what was the point of this letter? Like the ones who hate you are going to hate you. The ones who are going to support you are going to support you. This letter does nothing to change anybody's mind. But this is the letter. Hello, this is Chen. After worrying a lot about how I should express my feelings, it has taken me until now to write to XOL. I'm worried that I might hurt you through poor wording, but I want to first off apologize to everyone who has waited for all that time. I also want to express my apologies to XOL, who must have been very surprised and taken aback by my sudden news. When I first wrote that letter, it was my first time too experiencing such a thing. Maybe most people won't experience this in their lifetime. So I worried a lot about what I should say to XOL who've been together with me. Still, I wrote a letter because I thought that I needed to personally tell all of you first. However, my unintentional lacking and poor wording caused disappointment and hurt, and seeing you experience that made my heart ache as well. I don't know if my feelings will be conveyed well, but I am sincerely grateful for the love you have given me, and I am more aware than anyone else that I am who I am now because of that love. I want to apologize again for expressing my apologies to you so late. Also, I will show you how I'm continuing to try hard. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go back over Chin's situation in the way that I want to go over it, not the narrative that netizens try to take with it. So Chen has been with this girl that he's having a baby with. He's been with this girl for literal years. Like I remember probably maybe 3 or 4 years ago, the news coming out about these social media posts with him and this girl. So he's been with this girl for more than a hot minute. The girl that he's been with, he trusted her enough to decide not to use protection and got her pregnant. Now, the story that he came out with was like, oh, I was planning to marry this girl, and in the midst of planning our wedding, I found out she was pregnant, and I'm going to have a baby. Now, I realized that nobody ever wants to say, I made a mistake, I let one slip, and now I'm having a kid. I know in a society like Korea, you aren't allowed to say that because then it makes you seem very irresponsible and it makes it seem like you are living a careless life, you know, and people don't want to be seen that way. Even though your idol career might be on the decline now that you're a dad, at the same time, you don't want to seem like a careless person. So you have to say, like, we were planning to get married all along, but we had a baby anyway. I get that. But the way that the initial letter was worded, I think there was no way that you could have said that news that would have made it any better. I think the only thing that I would have done different if I was Chen, and this is just me because I've never been a celebrity, if I was him, I would have apologized for the fact that some people were surprised to find out that I had a personal life. Like maybe I would have done that. I'm like, I know for some of you, you see me as this untouchable idol, but I'm a man, just like every other man out there, and I'm a man who fell in love. And I hope you can support me in living my regular human life because behind the idol veneer is a human being. Like I might would have said that wording, but I wouldn't have said too much else. And maybe also, as just like a caveat or tack to the end of that statement, I would have said, I hope that XOLs find the same kind of love that I have found. Let's grow up together. Night, baby. But that didn't seem to be what he wrote. Instead, he's just like, guess what, guys? I'm getting married. I'm having a baby. So much fun. And a lot of people who spend their time and spend their energies supporting idols and crafting this world around what they assume idols are about, those people have a hard time letting go. And I think that's the reason why if I could have done anything different for Chen when he released his original statement, it would have been emphasize the fact that you're a human being. Emphasize the fact that, as an idol, while trying to keep this kind of pristine image, you went through a lot of hardships behind the scenes that you really didn't feel like you could share. And in the midst of those hardships, you found somebody who gave you comfort. And that person that you found that gave you comfort has now blessed you with a child. And you're prepared to give back to that person for all the support that they gave you while you were dealing with your sorrows behind the scenes. And I think I would have definitely put that more as the emphasis than just like, be happy for me because I'm having a baby. Because, I mean, you have to realize these, as delusional as some of these fans are, you were happy to take these delusional people's money. And that's something that I think as international fans, we don't really talk about enough. And we really need to start talking about it because we shit a lot on the K fans and be like, y'all are so crazy and y'all shouldn't feel like you have ownership and all this stuff. But on the flip side of that, these idols do a lot of times take advantage of these fans. A lot of these times these idols will have really shittily put together fan meets and the entry is to buy a whole bunch of fucking albums or to buy them a bunch of gifts or to do other things that line their pockets, and they take advantage of the adoration of these fans to enrich themselves financially. And when Chen was expecting fans to buy multiple copies of his solo albums and to buy his merch from the SM shops and all these other things, he was banking on these delusional people to keep him financially good, to help him have the money to buy Hermes bags for his fiance. So I mean, it's not unreasonable to expect him to kind of address that in some way. And I don't think that this follow up statement he made helps his case at all. It almost makes it seem like I didn't realize that maybe I should have been saying sorry. Now it just makes it seem like you're thoughtless. And that's what I'm saying. I would have never done this statement. I think it was stupid for him to do this statement. You should have just kept it cute, done what you needed to do, and the next statement you should have made is, me and my wife are now married, I'm getting ready to enlist. That should have been the next statement you made, quite honestly. I wouldn't have given them any other information. It just is what it is. We when we talked about it it's been now over a year, maybe 2 years ago, when we talked about the one member of FT Island who got his girlfriend pregnant. I remember saying then, like, yeah, sure, okay, getting married, shotgun wedding, pregnancy. But the way that they handled it, they were very upfront about their whole thing. They didn't try to couch it into, like, oh, we're just so much in love and have been dating for such a long time, Minwan. Instead, they were just kind of like, yeah, we've been dating a short time. We're having a kid. We're getting married. Like, they really cut to the quick. They didn't try to make it seem super romantic. They just kind of made it seem like life has happened to us. This is it. And honestly, that's just kind of the way you have to take it. And I think that for people who have lived a life, for people who have been in the real world, we can respect that. We can respect just saying, like, yeah, got caught up in the moment, didn't feel like I needed a rubber, and now here we are. But on the flip side of that, I didn't ask my partner to terminate the pregnancy. I didn't try to pay off my partner to go do their thing and then let me continue to shine. Instead, I stepped up to the plate and I said, I value you, I value our child, and I saw something special in you that made me feel like I can have such an intimate relationship with you. I'm prepared to make us a family. Because that's the thing that a lot of netizens don't really take into consideration as well. Like, there's so many celebrities that have been able to do some really shitty things under the cover. How many idols do you think have probably paid for plan Bs, abortions, adoptions, like all kinds of shit in order to preserve their place in the celebrities' celestial scene? There's probably a ton of them. There's probably a whole gang of women out there that could say they got knocked up by an idol and they were threatened into terminating their pregnancies, or they were threatened into giving away the kid, or they were threatened into, hiding everything and just taking monthly payments. Otherwise, they would have been destitute. Because those are facts. It doesn't all end in happy endings. No matter how many fanfics you've read about, ordinary girl meets celebrity and falls in love and changes everything, the reality of it is there's a ton of celebrities who meet regular people and fuck with them and fuck their lives up. And Chin's not doing that. Minhwan didn't do that. A lot of these other guys that are saying, I'm marrying my partner, instead of doing the shitty thing and abandoning somebody or threatening them to be quiet, making them sign NDAs, making them move across the country, making them, do all kinds of things that show that my celebrity is more important than your life or your kid's life. Instead, he's like, I like you. I love you. I love you and I want to be your husband. I don't just want to be the father of your child. I want to be your husband. And I think that that says a lot. And that's what the emphasis should be. That's what the emphasis should be. And I don't know. I just wish that SM would hire me to do PR because I think I could do a much better job than whoever it is they got doing stuff around there right now. So the question was asked about Yuban creating her own company and Ladies Code leaving Polaris. I have to say that I am very, very pleased with the way the Ladies Code leaving Polaris thing is being handled. Apparently, Polaris is going to allow Ladies Code to still use their name if they want to. They reached a mutual parting, and it seems like there's no hard feelings on either side. And to be honest with you, I think that, Ladies Code wasn't sustainable on Polaris. I think that part of it is because everyone involved had so much healing to do from the tragedy of losing Unbi and Rise. Also, the group changed. You can't be a group that does like bubblegummy, orange caramel style pop music, lose two members to a tragic car accident, and then come back and do bubblegummy pop music. If you look at the album that they released after they finally decided, yeah, we're going to do this again, it was a album that totally reflected where their mind was, where their spirit was, where their soul was. And Polaris has been really good about supporting the girls, you know, giving them projects when they're ready to do it, you know, not pushing them into trying to go right back where they were. Like, their company really, really gave them the room to breathe and the room to grow. And the fact that the public didn't latch on to the new material, that's not Polaris's fault. That's not even the girl's fault. It's just some people put you in a box and that's where they want you to be. But I just really like the fact that, you know, after giving it more than the college try, that they've both managed to part ways, and they've parted ways in a really beautiful way. Now, I think part of that is because Polaris knows they can't afford to be an asshole in this situation. Like, they absolutely cannot, because of all the groups to like hassle and bully and everything else. The public is not going to take you hassling and bullying Ladies Code. We're just not going to do it. They've been through enough. Um, but again, like I said, I think Ladies Code has been beyond brave. There are so many groups that if this happened to them, there would be no coming back, especially considering how young Ladies Code was. Ladies Code is Ladies Code is a group that a lot of people, all they know is the deaths. But if you go into the group itself and you listen to all the material they put out before the car accident, Ladies Code is a really interesting group because they had some super poppy songs, but there were like some darker B-sides. Very well crafted projects. Like, a lot of thought and time was taken into putting together Ladies Code comebacks. But when you look at the group and you look at how they've kind of evolved over time, Polaris has always been like really careful with them. And it would be odd for them to just like throw everything away and just shit on everything that they've done in the past. So I feel like the way that they parted is just a natural evolution again of like the time and the care that's always been put into the group. But yeah, I really have loved Ladies Code. I loved Ladies Code before the car accident. I honestly did. The first song I ever heard by Ladies Code was Pretty Pretty or Yepo Yepo. I liked Yepo Yepo. I liked Kiss Kiss. My favorite song prior to the accident was Hate You. I really dug that song. And I loved Galaxy. I loved Galaxy. I think that comeback was one of the best K-pop comebacks ever. Like, that whole album is a vibe, and it was well before its time. Like, a lot of people, when they heard that album, they didn't know what to do with it. That mini album, they did not know what to do with it because it was just like dark and edgy, and it just wasn't a place that it was before the whole girl crush 2.0 comeback season happened. And so there weren't a lot of people doing that sound. And it's something where, you know, Polaris really did sit down with a team and said, if we're going to bring them back, what can we do that not only highlights the girls that we still have here with us, but respects the memory of the girls that we left, that left us, and, you know, kind of pulls them into this new age for this group. The video for Galaxy is perfect. Like, that was just a really well executed, beautifully done comeback, and it just doesn't get enough attention. But yeah, like, the effort was put in, the time was put in, and the girls really powered through that. And their last song that they released, Set Me Free, not my favorite thing Ladies Code has ever done, to be honest with you. Did not buy. But it was playful and it was fun. And again, it's like it was an evolution of their style. It was kind of like them moving into their kind of brown-eyed girls phase. And so, you know, Polaris did everything they could. The public didn't pay, and when the public doesn't pay, it's hard to keep the lights on. But Polaris did everything they could, and I'm just really proud of Ladies because I'm proud of where they were before disaster struck. I'm proud of where they are now. I'm proud of all the ladies for working super hard and giving us something really important in pop music. So thank you guys so much for being Ladies Code and staying Ladies Code through it all. We couldn't have asked for any more. We honestly could not have asked for a single thing more. So for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Like, Ladies Code forever. Yubin starting her own record label. Her record label is called Real Recognizes Real, which is dumb as shit. It is dumb as shit. I don't. What? How many episodes of Boondocks did you watch that made you decide that you were going to name your record label Real Recognizes Real? It is. Now listen, I'm just gonna say this. I'm not automatically shitting on Yubin's record label because even though a lot of the women who have left major companies that start their own record labels, they haven't really done big things. I'm not gonna shit on the idea of her having her own record label. I'm not gonna do that because I haven't seen any products, so there's nothing to shit on. But I can already tell when it comes to decision making, you need more people. Because for your people to let you come out with that name, what are we doing? Like, seriously, what are we doing? And for those of you who never watched the greatness that is the Boondocks, I will play the clip from Real Recognizes Real. That way you'll understand what I'm talking about. Because I know some of you are like, what do you mean, Boondocks? Let's see, right here.
You taking her to Red Lobster with the cheddar biscuits. The fam ain't eating cheddar biscuits, but this random broad is eating cheddar biscuits.
I know the game. Your granddaddy knows the game.
Game recognized game, granddad.
I recognize game. Your granddaddy recognized game.
Game recognized game, and you looking kinda unfamiliar right now. I can't. Where's granddad? Can I help you, sir?
I ain't got time to mess around with y'all. I've got a date. Get out the way.
Okay, so that is what I mean when I say, like, was she watching the episode of Boondocks? She's like, Real Recognize Real. That's gonna be my record label. Like, it's just, it's so fucking random. It's so fucking random. And I'll be honest with you, it's hard to take that seriously. It's really hard to take it seriously when your record label is called Real Recognize Real. Real Recognize Real. And you're looking kind of unfamiliar. Like, come on. You've been for real? For real? For real? For real? Oh man, what a terrible, terrible name for a record label. My goodness. How awful. How awful. But I mean, I guess it could be worse. I guess it could be like Dookie Enterprises. Nobody would want to be on that record label either. Is there any more K-pop stuff you guys would like me to talk about? Because I want to make sure I get all of that out of the way tonight because I want to get caught up. There just really hasn't been a lot of K-pop news. Like, I am subscribed to DK TV, and I feel like I haven't seen a post from them regarding K-pop news in a minute because there's just nothing to talk about in K-pop. Let's see. I'll go to Asian Junkie and see if they've got any news. Oh, you're right. What if it's Lil recognizes Lil? Oh gosh, and that's not me being stereotypical. I'm not trying to make fun of the way that Asian cultures pronounce R's, but there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna fuck that up probably as well. Let's see. Luna had a comeback. Their comeback didn't really mean nothing great to me. Ooh, the Moonbach. Okay, so I'll talk about that real quick. Okay, so some of you might not be keen on people from Produce who didn't end up in groups. Like, for those of us who did not watch the seasons of Produce, probably the only thing you'll recognize from Produce are the actual groups that came out of it. But there have been like standout people from Produce that have kind of cult followings of their own outside of the show who didn't make it into the final group. An example would be like Samuel. People love Samuel even though Samuel didn't make it into the group. Or like Daewee. Well, he made it into the group, so that's not really a great example. Who's another one that didn't make it into the group? Suwon, otherwise known as Tuzi. There's a lot of people who follow Suwon on YouTube and Instagram because we love him, even though he never made it into the group. But there was one particular gentleman from the second season of Produce by the name of Moonbach, who really impressed people with one particular feature: his long, luxurious hair. Girl, he had hair for days, and it was long and it was silky and it was beautiful. And he like legit made a career out of hair. Like he did hair commercials and parodies and just like all kinds of stuff because of this wild, beautiful hair he had. And so recently he had a little bit of a scandal, a little tea time happen because apparently some girl that he was seeing, that's the best way to put it. Some girl that he was seeing was complaining online about the fact that he's a fuckboy. And she's not wrong, but at the same time, it's like, girl, why did you allow this to happen to you as well? So the story goes that she was at a club or a restaurant or a bar, someplace where there are tables. Put it that way. And he came over to her table and was like, yo, I like you, girl. And she's like, I don't really want to talk to you right now. I'm out here with my friends. Like, we're just trying to have a good time. We're not really trying to, talk to boys. But girl, I really like you. I want to hang out with you. No, I mean, I'm just not trying to do that right now. Like, I'm really trying to be with my girls. It's Valentine's Day, we're trying to do things for us, just, be on our girl shit. We're not really trying to be with no dudes right now. Girl, I want to talk to you for a minute. And you know what kind of talking I'm trying to do. I'm trying to talk to your Kit Kat. She's like, okay, you're being wild harassing right now. I really am trying to have a night to myself. Can you please go to another table? Okay, listen, I tell you what. Why don't you think about your decision for a minute and then come back to my place? And she's like, you're kind of annoying, but your hair is glossy. I might just have to go ahead and take a look and see what kind of conditioner you use. You know what I'm saying? So go back to his place, fuck around. So all of a sudden they're in a situationship, which, by the way, situationship is a song by Snow Allegra. It's a great song. Look it up. So go back to his place, have sex, take a shower, find out that he's using a really expensive Laura Mercier shampoo and conditioner set. As they're going together, she's like, okay, we fucked and we've been fucking multiple times, like twice a day. You're talking about I want to crawl up in those legs. So when are you gonna start doing nice stuff for me since we go together? Like, when are you gonna start taking me on expensive dates? When are you gonna start buying me nice purses? Like, it's Korea. When you're going with somebody, you're supposed to lace them up. When are you gonna lace me up? And he's like, I said I wanted to talk to you. I didn't say I'm trying to be with you. Like, do you see all this? Do you see all this? It can't be tamed. It can't be tamed. I mean, I could use anti-frizz solution, obviously, but like the spirit of the hair cannot be contained. I've got to share it with the ladies. I've got to spread the information around. I can't just be with one person. And she's like, okay, but that's not what you said when you borrowed $50 from me last week. And he's like, I gave you the opportunity to give me $50 so that you could learn all these hair secrets. And now you want to throw it in my face like I'm using you? Girl, you're using me because these pubes is just as luxurious as what's up here. Don't act like you don't know. Don't act like you didn't feel that silky smooth. Come on, girl. And so I guess his response pissed her off and she decided to take it to the internet. And the best part of this is that after she goes on the internet to tell everybody about what a fucking dog he was and how he's a fuck boy and how he owes her $50, his response is, you knew what it was. Ah! Goodness! I have to say, yes, you was wrong for how you did, old girl. But at the same time, that is a player ass answer. That is a player ass answer. You knew what it was. You knew what it was. Come on. Like, his statement literally is, I can't talk about it, but let's just say it's not the way she's saying it was. Like, I can't hate. I can't hate. I cannot hate. So, yeah. That was fun. That was fun. Oh, did I give you guys the update on my crush situation? Okay, so update since it's still story time. Those of you who know me and have been watching my lives for a long time know that I am like chin deep into the whole crush Zion T Dean situation. Like I have given many live stream minutes, many commentary minutes to talking about that whole love triangle we got going on there. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It is now no longer a love triangle. It is a fucking love square and possibly a love pentagram. Let me tell you what's happening. So Crush and Zion T and Dean uh, have had this long running kind of love fable where Crush and Zion T were together, and then Dean kind of caught Crush's eye. Zion T got mad jealous, dumped Crush because he was fucking around with Dean. Dean and Crush went through their own hard times. Crush got back together with Zion T and also somehow managed to trick Zion T into going into a threesome with Dean. So that's where we were the last time we had this conversation. And the last time we had this conversation, it was because Dean was on Instagram Live talking to Crush and had like the fucking stars and moon in his eyes. You could tell he was lit up and was just like, you know, you're my favorite person ever. Like when I think of you, you make me smile so much. Oh my gosh, Yusuf, I love you so much. Like that's the way he was looking on Instagram Live. Like his eyes were slanting, and he had nothing but comments to say. Then, like maybe I would say a week or two later, he comes on Instagram with one of them like women empowerment quotes talking about you can't be sad about a relationship you didn't have. And it's just like, whoo, girl, Spice City. I see that somebody's feelings have gotten hurt again. But it gets even better. So recently, there was a wedding where Crush was asked to, I guess, sing to the bride and groom. Tell me why he's up on the stage singing, serenading, hand holding with CK. The fuck is going on? And they're like skipping and holding hands down the aisle. I don't know what the hell is going on with Crush down here, but whatever it is, that shit is living life like it's golden. That shit is the literal magic stick. That shit is phenomenal because he done ran through Zion T, he done ran through Dean, he done slipped up with Sick K, and when I was saying it might be a love pentagram, I have a feeling Sam Kim is somewhere up in there too because Crush had the guy from Huel's sketchbook. Don't remember the guy's name now. But anyway, he had like a listening party with him. Tell me why Sam Kim is like sitting in the back, quiet as is kept, looking down, not saying nothing, only speaking when spoken to. Like he's like, so I'm his bottom bitch and I'm not allowed to really cause any problems or anything. Just know that while them other hoses out there squabbling, my man is always keeping me around. Like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It just the layers. The layers. I love it though. I love it though. It gives me mad joy. It gives me mad joy to see men being messy as shit like this. Because for so long as a woman, people act like us women are just, these wild emotional creatures and we're like the originators of mess and, any kind of drama in relationships is all us. Well, let's take us out the equation for a minute and see what these fools do when it's left up to them. Men are just as messy, just as emotional, just as clingy, jealous, all the other superlatives you like to give to women. Men are just as much that too, and I love it. That's what we like to see. That is really what we like to see. So, yeah, this whole thing just gives me massive amounts of glee. I'll never meet Crush in person. I'll never meet Dean in person. I'll never meet Zion T in person. And if I do meet them in person and they just happen to come across one of my live streams and have heard me sing their song with my words, they can confront me about it. That's fine. That's cool. Tell me I'm wrong. But until then, the saga continues. And I'm going to continue to believe y'all are messy as shit and that Crush is a gigolo. I'm going to continue to believe these things until proven otherwise. Sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Sorry, I'm being mad messy. I'm being so messy. Are there any other K-pop things that we can talk about? I just want to make sure I hit all the hot spots because I just don't want to feel like I left anything on the table when I could talk about everything. Because it's always like, I'll be talking about everything and then I'll get off the line and be like, oh shit, I forgot to talk about that thing. And so that's why I'm trying to put it out there. Like, if there's anything else I'm missing, please let me know. Have I talked about the fact that Parasite won all the awards? Have I done that on the live stream? I know I did it on my Twitter feed. I know on my Twitter feed I went crazy about Parasite winning Best Picture, Best Foreign Film, Best Screenplay. I already talked about Eyes One's comeback at the beginning of the live stream. Sorry about that, T. So Parasite won Best Picture, Best Screenplay, Best Foreign Film, and completely deserved. There's a whole bunch of ignorant people who are never going to watch Parasite because they cannot read and watch movies at the same time. Like, it's impossible. And I get it, girl. It is what it is. But for those of you who have been on the fence about whether or not you should watch Parasite, if you have the capability of watching a subtitled movie, please get on it. Please do it ASAP because you need to. I did talk about Ace's Superglue Attack early on in the live stream as well. J Park versus BTS, I have no idea what that is about. Only thing I know is that J Park recently said that like Big Bang was the best boy group ever, something like that. And it was like, that's his personal opinion. That doesn't mean he's shitting on BTS. It doesn't mean that he's shitting on EXO or any other boy band ever. That's just literally that man's personal opinion. So if there's something more to it that I've missed in terms of like storylines, I don't know nothing about that. All I know is that J Park saying that Big Bang is the best boy band ever, that's his opinion. That's what he likes. And you know, honestly, you have to look at it time frame wise as well. J Park was a member of 2PM. And during his time as a K-pop idol and back when he was following idoldom really heavy, Big Bang was massive. So for him to say Big Bang is the biggest boy band, J Park is like what, fucking 30 years old, something like that. That's his generation. You know, like if you ask me who's the best boy band of all time, I'm gonna give you some crazy washed boomer ass answer. I'm probably gonna say like either NSYNC or the Jackson 5, and maybe Boyz II Men thrown in the middle. Like these are the answers that you're gonna get from me because I'm an old bitch. Because I'm an old bitch, and if you ask me of all time, I'm gonna go back in the archives, and probably I am gonna give it to Jackson 5, probably the greatest boy band of all time. But yeah, you know, if Jay Park is saying that that's what he likes, that's what he likes. Him saying that he's the most versatile K-pop artist of all time. You know, Jay Park's always been bragging on himself. He's one of the ones who's constantly bragging on his dick game, and you have to be looking at it side-eyed because if your dick game was really that strong, other people would be bragging on it too. So, you know, him saying, I'm the most versatile K-pop artist of all time, whatever. That's just, you know, that's him being like rapper braggadocious. It's a part of the culture. It is what it is. Anybody who gets upset about that, you're mad soft. You need to grow up. Because that's just a thing that rappers do. People say, I'm the greatest of all time. That's what he's going to say. Duh. It just is what it is. But yeah, him not saying BTS is the greatest boy group of all time, that's not him throwing punches at BTS. That's not him taking shots. That's not him trying to start a fight. That is literally just him expressing his personal preference, what he likes. And, you know, also, think about what that question implies. Greatest of all time, our favorite ever, best ever, is saying like the top of the heap, but not saying that the rest of the heap is trash. So, for instance, I could say my favorite BTS song is. I'll pick one. I'll say my favorite BTS song is House of Cards. I'm just gonna say that, even though it's not. It's definitely top 5, but it's not. Saying that House of Cards long version is my favorite BTS song isn't the same as me saying that Dope is a trash song. Those are false equivalencies. I think Dope is an awesome song. I think House of Cards is an awesome song. These are both great songs, but if I tell you that I like this one more than this one, I'm not saying this one is trash. I'm just saying I like this a little bit more. And we're in such a time where people are so extreme in their language and kind of the way that they understand language, or they're constantly looking for something to cancel somebody over, or looking for something to be like, ooh, you didn't say this, that, and the other disclaimer, that it makes it to where you can't even have conversations with people because people, it feels like people intentionally misunderstand your words. You know, I didn't say that this other item was trash. I just said that this is my fave. If I tell you that my favorite food of all time is spaghetti and meatballs, that doesn't mean I don't like tacos. I'm just saying that is my all time fave. So why is it like, ooh, you were throwing shade at tacos? No, I didn't even say their fucking name. You know, get over yourselves. So I don't know. It's just it's much to do about not a thing, and I'm kind of over those times. I really, really am. Uh, oh, Suho's supposed to be having a solo, which I I would like to see it. I would like to see it because I can't even begin to imagine what kind of music Suho's gonna have outside of like some ballad that I would never listen to. Like I can't see it in my mind's eye. And also I feel it's been a long time since I felt this kind of frustration, but I remember, and forgive me for telling this story because it just shows how short sighted I am. I remember when Taemin came out as solo, and I remember thinking, why the fuck are they letting Taemin come out as solo before Jonghyun? I remember saying that, typing that on my Asian fanfics. I remember putting that in social media. I was so pissed off because I remember thinking, like, if we're talking about songs here, Jonghyun is the main vocal for Shiny. Why is he not the one getting the first solo? But SM knew better, and they let Taemin come out first. And I think that hindsight being 2020, it was a masterful decision on their part. But when it comes to EXO, I will forever be upset that Suho is getting a solo before Kyungsu. Now, it could be that Dio just doesn't want it. Maybe he's like, you know what? I don't mind giving you a little SM station, something, something, but I don't ever want to have to promote an album by myself because I don't even really care about singing anymore. I'm about this actor life. That could very well be the point. But I was shocked and surprised that Chen was the first solo for EXO. I was shocked and surprised that Baekhyun's solo was just a little mini album. I was shocked and surprised that Chen got a second solo project before Kyungsu ever got a first. And I am shocked and surprised that Suho is getting a solo project that is not just some SM Station song because I just don't see it for him vocally. I don't think he's a bad vocalist. I would never say that, but you've heard them sing live. You've heard them sing live because they do that. And it's just, he is the weak link. He is the weak link when it comes to the vocal line for SM. Oh, Lay. Sorry about that. I forgot about Lay. Lay was actually the first solo from EXO. Thank you for correcting me. It's hard to remember that Lay was the first because Lay hasn't done anything with EXO in what feels to be eternity. Like, he did a random photo shoot with them for this album called Don't Mess Up My Tempo, and I think that they said he recorded something, but I mean, I don't see it. So it was hard to remember that Lay actually had several solos. But Lay's situation is different too, and I'll tell you why. Again, like I just said, hard to remember that he's even in the group. Lay didn't release his solos because SM was like, he is such a strong vocal talent. We need to make sure we get him out there ASAP. It was, they are throwing so much fucking money at this man in China. Put something out there right now so we can collect more of it. That was what that was. That was completely a money grab. Everything that Lay has done in terms of solo physical releases, they have all been supreme money grabs. So that's the reason why it's just like, I get it. You're trying to catch money. I get it. Also, if we're going to talk about first solos from EXO, I guess we would have to also include Tao and Chris and Luhan, but I'm not counting them either because they left the group. So it is what it is. I know how you feel, Sam, when I made a comment on about how I didn't like this album that they came out. The crazy fans literally accused me of being misogynistic pig and a Luna hater. I'm sorry to hear that, man. So Luna came out with a new single, and to be honest with you, it's mediocre. It's mediocre, and Luna. I've had this conversation with a lot of people, so I'm gonna run it back. When Luna first came out, I actually really, really liked Luna. The first song I remember really liking from Luna was "I'll Be There." I love that song because it had kind of a New Jack Swing vibe, and it was before everybody and their grandmother was really doing the New Jack Swing thing, and so I really dug it a lot. But then Luna became the meme, the whole Stan Luna thing, and the hype outpaced the musical output. There were some really shining moments with Luna. Like definitely Eclipse with Lim Kim was like big, big stuff. Kim Lip, sorry. And then, Ease was doing really well. Olivia did really well. Chu did really well. Like a lot of the stuff that they put out, quality content. But the hype machine and the meme machine way outpaced the actual musical product coming from Luna and BBC. Is it BBC? Is that the Blockberry? I can't remember what their company's name is now. I don't pay attention close enough. So finally, when they get their big group debut, where it's going to be all 12 girls and everybody's going to finally see Luna complete, of course, people hated Hi Hi. People hated Favorite. People hated Butterfly. But they didn't hate the songs because they're terrible songs. People hated the songs because there was no possible way that anything that group could put out would live up to the hype train that had been propelling them along so far. The fact that they had Grimes in one of their videos, like, that is so fucking random. Like, of all the Western artists for somebody in K-pop to combine with, that is so fucking random. But long story short, there was nothing that they could put out that was ever going to match the hype train. And so because of that, everybody's like, Luna's a flop. And then their creative director was on some old, yeah, the group was really nothing. It was all about my personal vision as a creative director. And then, of course, BBC is like not fulfilling their contractual obligations with some of their sponsors. And it's just a whole big fucking mess, right? So now Luna's coming out with a comeback, and the Orbits are like, you have to stand, you have to support, you have to buy. And it comes out, and it's mediocre. Just as mediocre as everything else that they have been doing. And people are like, why aren't you supporting? Why aren't you loving? Why aren't you everything else? But the truth of the matter is, why do I have to continue to throw my money behind this group? Like, yes, Luna TV, they were very dedicated to making sure they were releasing it, little vignettes and things to try to get you interested in the girls. But, Luna's not really on Variety strong like that. The members of Luna aren't really doing other projects outside of Luna. Like, they're not on television shows or doing dramas or any of that kind of stuff. Social media wise, I don't think that they're doing a ton of stuff on Instagram and Twitter and things like that. And it's just like they're not giving you the incentive to throw that money their direction, in my opinion. And so, am I surprised that the reception has not been fantastic? No, because there really wasn't enough there. And like, going back to vocal power, like, the training period for some of the girls in Luna is fucking ridiculous. Some of them barely had any training at all. So are we surprised that they don't have really strong main vocals? Are we surprised they don't have really strong rappers? Are we surprised they don't have phenomenal dancers? And it's just like, what am I supposed to do with this? You give me a gang of girls who are mad regular, and you expect me to like just go bonkers over this? I really can't. I'm sorry. You know, and you can call me hater if you want to. You can downvote me if you want to. Um, but I'm just telling you how I feel as somebody who doesn't have the cloud of stan over their eyes. And if somebody was to talk about Shiny the way I'm talking about Luna, I'd be ready to fight. So that's why I'm saying, like, I get it if somebody who is a major orbit is like, how dare you talk mad shit about my favorite group? You don't know. You're not invested. You're right. I am not invested. So I really don't know. But as a K-pop consumer of almost 8 years now, I can tell you there's nothing there for me. And I've seen a lot, and there's just nothing there for me. And until you can give me something I can hold on to, I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go. You know? Heck, I honestly, if it hadn't have been for the repackaged songs for Red Velvet's festival, I was this close to starting to let Red Velvet go. It really was. Like, so let me talk about, I will talk about that too, because I feel like it's time to talk about that. I mean, I think I talked about it very briefly, but I need to kind of go through the timeline with everybody and kind of get this out the way, because I've laid my heart out for how I felt about certain groups, but I don't think I've really gone through kind of my roller coaster when it comes to Red Velvet. Okay, so Red Velvet is my favorite currently promoting girl group. My favorite girl group for a really long time was 2NE1, and then my favorite girl group for a long time was Sistar. And like, of my all times, it's definitely going to be Sistar. Like, Sistar, I have many emotions tied to the Sistar discography. But Red Velvet became my currently promoting favorite girl group after Sistar decided to wrap up their last summer. And part of the reason why I have loved Red Velvet the way I have, in a way that's very different from Sistar and 2NE1, is that Red Velvet consistently gave me songs that left huge impressions on me. So the first Red Velvet song I ever heard was Hot Penis. And I will continue to call it Hot Penis until the end of time. I cannot hear that song without hearing them shouting the words Hot Penis. La 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 Hot Penis. Can't hear it any other way. They should have never put the emphasis on that first syllable, because it fucked up the song for me. But yeah, Red Velvet, when I first heard Hot Penis, I could not stand it. I thought it was a terrible song, and I remember thinking, wow, SM, you're about to flop here, because this shit is disgusting. It's gross. And it didn't help that they had all the controversy about the graphics and everything else in the video. Almost immediately after that, they do the cover of Be Natural. And that was automatic love at first here. Like, I loved the choreography, I loved the cinematography, I loved the sound of the song. Of course, the song was a remake of like an early 2000s song, which is like my favorite time, my most current time in music. So I was gonna love it. But I just loved everything about Be Natural. I loved everything about Be Natural. So I'm like, okay, I don't know if I can hate this group, because I really like this Be Natural song. Let's see what they come out with next. They come out with Ice Cream Cake and Automatic. And they announce that Red Velvet is these two concepts. There's Red, which is their fun ice cream cake side, and then there is Velvet, which is their automatic, smooth R&B urban side. And I'm like, okay, I'm really torn here, because I love me a good R&B group. I am a Shawwal to my very core, and part of it is because they do some of the best R&B in K-pop. So I'm like, okay, I can't fully stand Red Velvet, but I know I'm always going to check for them, because half of what they're doing is completely up my alley. It is right in my wheelhouse. I will continue to check on it. But then a really weird thing happened, and that is the album The Red. So Ice Cream Cake, the mini album, got it. I liked it. Thought there were some really cool songs on there. The B sides of Ice Cream Cake are really underrated. Actually, you got to go back and listen to that album. The Red album comes out. Dum Dum comes out. And when Dum Dum comes out, it completely changes the game for Red Velvet to me. Now I am a Red Velvet fan because Dum Dum was brilliant. Now, granted, Dum Dum sounded like Bang Bang, by Jessie J and Ariana Grande and Nicki Minaj. But anyway, it it just was like I get the red side now. Ice Cream Cake was a decent song, but I mean, it's not one that I go back and listen to very often. But Dum Dum is one of those ones that when Dum Dum comes on, I'm ready to shake ass. And, the album itself had like a really good mix of fun moments. And I'm like, okay, I get the red thing now. Then the Velvet album comes out, and a lot of people took umbrage to Velvet. A lot of people did not like One of These Nights. They were not checking for that album. Me, on the other hand, I still will fight you in the comment section. One of These Nights is the most underrated song on the entirety of Red Velvet's discography. It is their most neglected comeback, and it is the one that deserved the least amount of neglect because it had a great video, it was a well crafted song, it had a lot of meaning, even though SM tried to act like it wasn't about the Say Welfare tragedy, but it totally was. It was just brilliant, all around brilliant. And the mini album was actually a really solid mini album. It had a lot of remixes of One of These Nights, but still was a very solid mini album. And that mini album is actually what made me believe me and Red Velvet were meant to be together for the rest of the time. Because I'm like, okay, you hit me with that 1-2 punch. You hit me with the Dum Dum, and then you hit me with the One of These Nights. I'm sold. I'm sold. I'm a fan. And also, Sistar's trying to retire. I'm yours. And then they just kept coming out with hits. They did Russian Roulette, which was really great. They did, I'm trying to think what else. Rookie, I was not a big fan of Rookie the song. The album, on the other hand, lots of really good background tracks on that. Red Flavor, really liked the song, like the album. Then they come out with the best release that they have ever had, which was the album Perfect Velvet. Already, the first time I heard Peekaboo, I'm like, what is this? What is this? This is magical. This is magical. Loved the title song. Then I got to listen to the album, and I'm like, okay, you have made me cry. Like I had heard Red Velvet over the years. I'm like, okay, I like this stuff. Kingdom Come was the first time I ever cried listening to Red Velvet, and it was definitely like the circumstances that caused me to start crying when I heard Kingdom Come had a lot to do with like a very emotional period in my life. It was around the same. Kingdom Come came out, I want to say, right before Jonghyun passed away. The first time I heard Kingdom Come, I'm like, this is that jam, this is that shit. Play it for me, play it for me. After Jonghyun passed away, I happened to be in the car and Kingdom Come came on, and I cried. I cried because in a lot of ways, that song felt the way I felt about him. And to this very moment, like to right now, when I hear that song, he is the person I think of. And I mean, the rest of the album is great. Second Date is even not that bad. Like there's a lot of really good music on Perfect Velvet. But then they give you the repackage with fucking Bad Boy. Like, you talk about perfect. That album, there's a lot of Red fans that like don't want to acknowledge that album, or they're like, oh, Bad Boy set unrealistic expectations for Red Velvet. No. If anything, Bad Boy showed that the Velvet side of Red Velvet is just as valuable, if not more valuable, than the Red side. And it showed that the Velvet side can be profitable. For so long, people acted like the Velvet side couldn't make money because of One of These Nights, because of Automatic, because of Be Natural. But no, if done correctly, the Velvet side can be amazing for this group. They've got it. They've got the vocal talent to do it. And so, like, yeah, when Perfect Velvet came out and then the repackage, I'm like, I'm sold. Stand for life. Stand for life. I still get very emotional when I hear Kingdom Come. I don't cry every time I hear it anymore, but like when they get to the bridge and she hits that high note, Kingdom Come. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Chills. And then like in the background, I got you, you got me, babe. No. Oh, the ad libs. The ad libs in the bridge to Kingdom Come pull my heartstrings. I could talk about that song all day long. All day long. And every time the drums, I could talk about the song all day long, but I digress. So once Perfect Velvet came out, I'm like, you know what? If Red Velvet has a hit or a miss here and there, I'll forgive them everything because I love that song so much. And you can't write a song, well, you can't perform a song that perfectly and have something wrong with your group. Like I honestly, I don't think that any other group could do Kingdom Come. I've thought about that. Like like you do those K-pop challenges like, what song could you see another group covering? What song would you like another group to cover? Like I've played those challenges in my mind just like everybody else has. I cannot see another group doing Kingdom Come. I can't name one. I can't see it being done by anyone else because of Sulgi, because of Wendy, because of Irene and Joy. Yeri, not so much. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hate you, girl. I'm just telling the truth. But, like that song just it highlighted the strengths of the majority of the members. Put it that way. Then we have Summer Magic, which I didn't think was a very strong mini. Then we had Really Bad Boy, which again, I didn't think was very strong. Then we had the Rev Festival. Fucking Zimzalabim. Like, it felt like SM was fucking with me on purpose. It felt like SM was really trying to lose fans with the Rev Festival. The outfits were terrible. The songs were fucking weird as shit. The B-sides were completely uninspired and sounded like recycled shit from everything else that they've done before. Like it felt like SM did not know what they were doing. Like nothing made sense to me. And I was like, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe I was just mistaken because of a really phenomenal project and I really put too much faith in these girls and I shouldn't have done that. And I was prepared to write it off. I was prepared to completely write it off. Then they pulled the fucking rabbit out of the hat and released the finale of the festival. And it was like they said, Samantha, I'm so sorry. I wasn't trying to fuck with you like that. I've been going through some things. My mama's been mad at me. I've had some dental issues and me and my man ain't working out right, but I done got all that shit fixed. I'm a new woman. I'm coming into 2020 on some totally different energy. Here is the finale and Psycho. Psycho. Psycho is amazing. Psycho is really and truly amazing. Not amazing just because it's a grower. Cause like the first time I heard Psycho, I'm like, I like this, but I'm not sure. By the fifth time I heard Psycho, I'm like, got me feeling like a psycho. Psycho. Like anyway, it wasn't just the fact that the song is a good song. The choreography was so much stronger than the choreography for Zimzalabim and Oompa Oompa was. The choreography was better. The clothes from Psycho are beautiful. The photo book pictures from the finale are beautiful. Like it is like somebody said, okay, if you have to go red with it, At least let me give you Velvet styling. Best styling. Their absolute best styling. Like, fight me if you wanna. Go through their discography and take a look. Every time Red Velvet has done a Velvet concept, their styling is beyond perfection. And Psycho, I think, is still considered a Red song, totally styled like a Velvet song. And the B-sides that they added to Finale for like the whole festival, totally are Velvet songs. It's totally a Velvet repackage. They took these two Red projects and they said, now let's repackage them with a Velvet. It's one of the smartest things they've ever done. And that is why it totally grinds my gears. It totally pisses me off that finally, when me and Red Velvet are back on speaking terms, when I'm finally ready to, put on my full free flag and stand them again, here comes the fucking music awards trying to kill Wendy. And then the girls are getting sick. And it's just like anything that could go wrong with what should have been a perfect comeback fucking goes wrong. And I'm just like, where do we go from here? Like, seriously, me and Red Velvet, where do we go from here? I have no clue. I mean, I'm not going to give up on Red Velvet. That's not happening. I think I owe it to Wendy, after all the years of joy I've gotten from her voice, to, stick in there and at least see what she's going to do. But SM, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? I feel like if no one said it already, I'm just going to say it. If Wendy can't dance, please turn Red Velvet into a Velvet group. Please do it. It's the most logical progression for the group. It is the lowest impact. I feel like no matter what happens with Wendy's hip and pelvic area, her voice, I think, is going to be intact. And if she decides she wants to go back to singing, if she decides she wants to go back to the group, I think now is the time to hire London Noise, the Underdogs, all the people who write the best shit for them, and release a Velvet magnum opus. Like, release a Velvet album that is totally in its feelings. Release something super vibey. Spend some like serious real money and hire Phineas, Billie Eilish's brother, to like collab with some songwriters and write some shit for Red Velvet. But like, make it happen. Make it happen. If Red Velvet's next comeback when Wendy comes back is to try to do a trying to do a Red concept, Velvet. Do Velvet. Not only do Velvet, but do a song that is like a slight fuck you to the industry. Like, code it so that it's not super obvious, but put it in there. Put it in there. Because I think it's just the most logical area to move into. It's just the most logical area to move into. I think my opinion is valid. I know there's a lot of people who say that the Velvet fans are a bunch of haters. Yeah, tag me if you wanna, but I really do think that moving forward, that is the only way to go. It's the only way to go. I think that going Velvet is the only way to go. And then any of this Red stuff that you had planned for them, give it to your new girl group that y'all are debuting, because apparently SM is debuting a new girl group, and I wish those children the best of luck. But yeah, I think that Velvet is the way to go with Red Velvet, because they do it well. It was a leap for SM to decide that Red Velvet was going to have these two extremes, but so much could have gone wrong with the Velvet side. And I think that the Velvet side is the side of Red Velvet that can grow with them as they age. When they get to where they don't want to dance so fucking hard anymore, the Velvet side is the one that's going to continue to feed them. I think that the first song that Red Velvet should come back with should be an OST for like a super popular show. And then they should release a Velvet project. That's what I want. I totally went off on a tangent, but I just really, I've been waiting a long time to talk about my feelings about Red Velvet and just really put it out there because I'm tired of the slander against us Velvet fans, number one. But number two, I feel like nobody's just saying it that, the Reva Festival was kind of a fail, and it was kind of a fail in a trajectory of Red fails. I think that the Red side was not has not been critically critiqued the way it should have been, and I think a lot of the people who are like Velvet fans are haters. You just want to acknowledge the fact that the Red side hasn't always been the best choice for this group, whereas the Velvet side, if for nothing else, it lends itself to having a longer shelf life in the discography. So there, I said it. Mm-hmm. All right, so I think I'm pretty much done with all the K-pop things I needed to talk about and the K-pop things I wanted to talk about because I just have the attention span of a rabbit. So I'm just gonna give you guys an update on my worst night ever. What are the sales numbers for the thing? Let's see. Let's ask our good girlfriend Wikipedia because that bitch she be knowing. Red Velvet discography. Tell me Wikipedia. Albums versus extended plays. So, according to Wikipedia, Red Velvet has only ever had two albums, which are the Red and Perfect Velvet. So, the Reva Festival is considered a reissue. And according to Wikipedia, in Korea, the Reva Festival finale sold 134,720 albums. Extended plays, that's what the other portions of the Reva Festival fall under. The first day of the Reva Festival sold 162,395 units, whereas the second day, because the first day was so bad, only sold 119,807 units. And I think the only reason why they were able to see a jump in the finale is because Psycho was a really good song, and so people are like, okay, I'll go ahead and check it out. But I don't think people were excited to see the reissues of the other 2 days of the Reva Festival. Other big sales for Red Velvet. Really Bad Boy sold a little over 100,000 copies, so it actually sold less than day one. Summer Magic sold 164,000, so around the same amount as day one. Let's see here. The Red Summer sold 104,000, which is surprising. I'm surprised that Summer Magic sold more than the Red Summer, but then Summer Magic came after Perfect Velvet, so I could see why it would sell a little bit more. Rookie sold 112,000, which that is surprising because Russian Roulette actually sold less copies than Rookie, and Russian Roulette was a better song, but maybe it's just because people are like, we like Russian Roulette so much, we're going to go ahead and spend the money on Rookie, because Russian Roulette sold 87,000. The Velvet, which I really liked, is one of their lowest selling projects of all time. It sold 56,000. Ice Cream Cake sold 86,000. So Ice Cream Cake and Russian Roulette actually sold around the same thing. The Perfect Velvet reissue sold 116,000, which is surprising because Bad Boy is on that, so you think it would sell a little bit more. And Perfect Velvet, which had Peekaboo, sold around the same amount as the reissue, which is very surprising. They didn't come out too far apart, so that is surprising. But so far, out of their entire discography, it looks like their best selling project to date has been Summer Magic, which is extremely surprising. Would never have guessed that. And that's not including digital downloads, by the way. Digital downloads for singles are something totally different. They're counted very different. I would not compare them at all. I'm looking at the numbers for some of these digital downloads, and some of these things are like 2.5 million. Very different from physical sales for sure. Looks like The digital sales for their latest releases are all blanked out, which is very strange. That's weird. That's weird. Power Up did okay. Bad Boy did better than Power Up when it came to digital downloads, and Peekaboo actually did better than Bad Boy, which is surprising. Red Flavor and Russian Roulette were like their most popular singles, it looks like. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, this is like a brief run through. But I wasn't going to talk about them anymore. I need to talk about my worst night ever and the follow up to that. So, 2 weeks ago, I did a video called Worst Night Ever, where I talked about my car accident. And the car accident I had, it was a really snowy night where I live. I live in Colorado Springs. We had like 8 inches of snow yesterday, and then like 2 or 3 days before that, we had 8 inches of snow. It was crazy. Anyway, um, I got in a car accident. I was coming down a hill, and as I was coming down the hill, the car in front of me started spinning. And in order to keep from hitting them, I swerved out of the way and I ran into a juniper bush. My car was stuck in said juniper bush. The tow truck was getting ready to tow my car out of said juniper bush. And then all of a sudden, squeak, here comes another car, hits the back of my car. So this is an important detail because since the other car hit my car after the tow truck had arrived, it was classified as two separate accidents. And this is a very important part of the story here. Two separate accidents. The first accident was seen as my fault. It's my fault because I lost control of my car trying to swerve to avoid an accident, whatever. The second accident was not classified as my fault, but my insurance company can't find any information for insurance for the driver of the car that caused the second accident. Because these are legitimately considered two different accidents, I have to pay two different deductibles. And I have to pay a deductible in the second accident because the driver who hit me did not have insurance. So that's really shitty. It really sucks. I hate it. Now, here is the part that sucks for me and why I even wanted to talk to anybody this evening. My insurance company decided that on the first accident, that was repairable damage, it's fine. But that the second accident, because it caused even more damage than the first accident, that my car is irreparable, so they're not gonna repair it, and they're totaling out my car, which means I'm gonna have to buy a new car. And I'm gonna talk to you guys because I think most of the people I'm talking to have probably never had a car totaled out, might not have ever even purchased a car of their own. Like the car they're driving might be a car somebody gave them. They're not paying car notes. They're not dealing with trying to build equity and all this stuff. But let me tell you why this news is supremely depressing to me. The car that they totaled out is a car that I am currently paying car note on. And the amount of money that they're totaling my car out for is less than the amount that I owe on my car loan. So there is a gap there. And it means that I'm not going to have down payment money on a new car, which I'm going to have to buy a new car in the next week because I got to drive something. Got to go to work. It means that I've got to make arrangements to get the rest of my loan paid. It means I'm now going to be facing a higher car note because newer cars cost more than cars did 5 years ago. It's just it messes everything up. But this is also a teachable moment for those of you who haven't gone through the car buying thing and haven't gone through insurance claims and haven't gone through these really grown up things I'm having to go through, because a lot of this shit I had to learn as it was happening. A lot of the shit that I've gone through when it came to like cars and insurance and all this stuff, something bad had to happen, and then I learned my lesson. So I felt like this is a good teachable moment for me, for you guys. So I could tell you about things you need to do when you start entering the adult space of car ownership, car loans, insurance, and the like. So let me tell you about it. So I mentioned just now that my car was totaled out and that the amount that the insurance company is willing to settle with me for on my car is less than the amount that I owe on my loan, which the gap is around close to $2,000. And for some people, it would really freak them out that they are going to have to pay $2,000 for a car that they're not even driving, and where are they going to come up with this money, yada, yada, yada. What I did, which I recommend everyone watching to do, if you have a car note that you are currently paying and you haven't discussed it with your car loan holder, call them immediately after watching this live stream. Call them in the morning, whenever you need to call them. Tell them, excuse me, Mr. Car Loan person, can I please have gap insurance? It doesn't cost that much. Gap insurance on my car was like $20 a month. Why is gap insurance so important? Because that $2,000 gap between what the insurance company wants to pay me and what my car note still is owed on, my gap insurance is going to pay that. I'm not going to be responsible for that money. So my car note, my long-term car note is about to be paid off. And I have been paying my car note on automatic payment every single month. I have a separate bank account that is strictly for my car note. No other money goes in that account except for the money to pay my car note. I have my car note drafted from that account. I've been paying it religiously on time for years. And I had my gap insurance placed on my note the day I got that loan. And that has saved me, as of today, close to $2,000. So if you are considering buying a car and the company that you're going to buy the car from says, would you like to have gap insurance? Tell them, fuck yes, absolutely, give it to me now. Because that one thing saved me a ton of money today. Another thing that has really saved me throughout this whole process is paying for the roadside assistance coverage on my insurance, and also paying for uninsured motorist insurance on my car, and paying for the rental car coverage. So if you own a car that you are still paying a car note on, your lender is probably going to say you need to have full coverage insurance. Why do they ask you to do that? They ask you to do that because they want to make sure if you get in a car accident that your car can get fixed, because if your car can be fixed, you're going to continue to drive it and you're going to continue to pay your car note. That is the only reason. Basically, they want you to have insurance to protect their investment, which is the car. But full coverage insurance can vary wildly. There are features that you can add to full coverage insurance and features you could take off. You can have different levels of deductibles. So for those of you who don't know, if you get in a car accident, a deductible, I've always had this insurance. If you buy this insurance after the accident, they're not going to pay. You have to have this insurance ahead of time. That's the reason why I'm telling you guys about this now, because the best time to find out about your coverage is before you actually have to use it. If you try to buy gap insurance after you've had an accident, they're not going to cover you. If you try to buy a rental car insurance after you've had an accident, they're not going to cover you. If you try to buy uninsured motorist coverage after you've had an accident, they're not going to cover you, because most policies start on the day that the policy was started. So in order to have uninsured motorist coverage, that policy had to have started the day of the accident or the day before the accident. If it happened the day after, it's not going to cover. So when I got my insurance on my car, I was given a menu of all the different coverages you can have. And my car insurance can be more or less based on the kind of coverage I have. So what did I buy? I bought the full coverage because I wanted to make sure my car was repaired if I got in any accidents, because I'm still paying a car note. I got a $500 deductible on my car. there were several deductible options. There was the $500 deductible option, there was the $1,000 deductible option, and there was the $2,500 deductible option, which you don't even need insurance if you got a $2,500 deductible. That's crazy. Deductible basically is the portion that you have to pay out of pocket to fix your car if you have an insurance claim. There are virtually no insurance policies that you can buy that have $0 deductibles. Usually the minimum is $500, and that's what I had. I paid more money every single month on car insurance to have a $500 deductible. Not only that, but I paid for roadside assistance. My roadside assistance means that one time I had a flat tire and I was in an unsafe neighborhood. I was able to stay in my car, call for roadside assistance. They sent a man out there to change my tire for me while I sat in my car, and then I was able to drive away, and I paid no money for that service. I one time had my battery go dead. I was able to call roadside assistance. They sent a guy to jump my car until I could drive my car to the O'Reilly and buy a brand new car battery. Roadside assistance is everything. Please buy the coverage. But more importantly, roadside assistance is how I was able to get my car towed out of the juniper bush and to the collision center without having to pay any money. Also, the rental car coverage. When I got in my accident, I had no idea how long it was going to be before the insurance company decided to either total my car or repair my car. And depending on the damages that I had, if my car had been repaired by my insurance company, my car would have been in the shop for well over a month. Well over a month of paying rental car fees, you're looking at hundreds of dollars. Because I pay more every month on my insurance for the rental car usage, I have paid no money out of pocket for the rental car I'm currently driving. I've saved hundreds of dollars just by paying a little bit more every month for the rental car coverage. And so I say all of that to give you advice, because one of the things that I know that young people do when they get out the house and they're facing expenses and, having to take over all the adult things, it is one of the things where, like, you look at yourself and you're saying, oh man, I have to pay rent, I have to pay car insurance, I have to pay a car note, I have to pay renter's insurance, I have to pay all these things. Where can I cut corners? And people are tempted to take off things that cost them $20 a month. People are like, okay, I don't need the roadside assistance. That'll save me $15. I'm not going to take it. I can have a higher deductible that's going to save me $50 a month. I'll take that off. I don't need the rental car stuff because I'm never going to get in an accident. That costs me $10 a month. I'll take that off. So you start whittling it down, and by the time you've whittled down your insurance, you're maybe paying $100 less a month than you would be if you had all the bells and whistles. But then you get in a car accident, and then you need all the bells and whistles, and you have none of them because you were trying to save your money every month. Uninsured motorist coverage. 2 claims. I told you this 2 claim thing was going to be important. 2 auto claims. The one claim for where the other person hit me, if I did not have uninsured motorist coverage, my insurance company would not be obligated to pay 1 red cent for that accident because I don't have coverage for an uninsured motorist. They could say, that is a coverage you don't have. We're not obligated to fix any damages related to a coverage you do not have. So there's 2 types of car insurance, like main categories of car insurance. There's full coverage, and then there's liability coverage. Full coverage is where you get in an accident, your insurance coverage pays to fix your car. Liability is where you get in an accident, your insurance pays to fix the other guy's car. If someone hits you and they don't have full coverage or liability insurance, you can hire an attorney and you can take them to court and you can try to sue them to get your car fixed. But in the meantime, you got a broke down car. But if you have uninsured motorist coverage, then your car will be fixed regardless of whether that other person has coverage or not. Now, granted, you will have to pay a deductible, but you'll have a fixed car. Or in my case, when my car got totaled out, I was entitled to compensation. Granted, the compensation wasn't as much money as I need to buy another car, but it put me this much closer to getting into another car. by not having to pay off a car note on a car I can't drive. So, uninsured motorist coverage is vital because you may be a responsible car owner and you may be taking care of your vehicle every month and you may be following all the rules of the land, land of the law, lay of the law, all of that stuff. But other people on the road are not that responsible. Other people on the road take crazy chances. And the kid who hit me was a high school student whose parents put him in a car with no insurance. And thank God neither one of us were hurt. But my uninsured motorist insurance, if that kid had got hurt and had decided to sue me, I would have had coverage for that. Or if the roles had been reversed and I had hit that kid, I had coverage to take care of that kid. So even though the aftermath of the worst night ever has resulted in me losing my car, having to start over from scratch, at the same time, in terms of money I'm spending out of pocket, minimal cost. Out of all the things that happened, I'm going to end up spending $1,000, which is still an incredible amount of money, which is why you will not be seeing Samantha unboxing K-pop on her channel for a very long time. Also, FYI, just about everything I own that's not shiny is for sale because I got to pay these bills, if you know what I'm talking about. But if I had not had the coverages that I had, if I had not been paying that little extra money every single month, I stood to lose around $5,600. So if the $1,000 I'm going to pay, it's going to take care of $5,600 worth of stuff. And that's just what I pay for my car payment month to month, not even including the wrecker fee that I didn't have to pay, not even including the rental car I'm currently driving that I didn't have to pay that fee for. All those things are also heaped on top of that $5,600. So I say all that to say, long story short, pay a little extra money, get the extra coverage, because when you need it, you don't want to have to worry about it. When you need it, you want it to be there. So I know that I used to leave you guys with like kind words and everything whenever I end these videos. This to me is my kind words that I'm leaving you with, because a lot of people, they don't realize that they don't have these things until they need them. So my advice to you, if you are in a position of having to pay car insurance or having to pay a car note, if you've gotten to that stage of adulthood, call your loan company and ask them, do I have gap coverage? If I don't have gap coverage, how much does that cost extra? Go ahead and get it. Just get it. It may be that you have to cut back on eating out that month, one less Seamless or Postmates order, but when you need that coverage, you'll be so glad you have it. If you are currently paying insurance for a car, and especially if you've got full coverage insurance, go ahead and pay for the roadside assistance. Go ahead and pay for the uninsured motorist coverage. Go ahead and pay for the rental car coverage, because you don't think you're going to have an accident, and Lord willing, you will never have that accident. But when you have that accident, that's going to represent a ton of money you're going to have to pay, because if you're not renting a car to go back and forth to work while you're getting your car fixed, you're paying for Ubers to go back and forth to work and to school and everything else while you're waiting to get your car fixed. Also, uninsured motorists. Again, some of these people are like really super reckless out here, and they're driving cars that don't even belong to them. What if you get hit by somebody who is driving a stolen car? When that happens, good luck being covered. That is a legal nightmare. But if you've got uninsured motorist coverage, you can still be taken care of while you await for the law enforcement people to do what they're supposed to be doing. So please take this advice to heart. I know I'm not Susie Orman or Rich Dad Poor Dad or any of these other financial gurus, but these are lessons I have learned by taking it on the chin over the years. And I'm telling you now, The level of anxiety that I have felt over the last couple of weeks waiting to find out what happened in my car has only been lessened by the fact that I knew the insurance coverage I had was going to put me in at least a position to start out this way instead of starting out way down here. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I know for a lot of you, you have totally logged out of the chat room because none of this applies to you. But keep it in the back of your mind because some of you may not have a car note. Some of you may not be paying car insurance right now. But one day, if you live long enough, you will be. And when you are, remember these things. Remember that your Aunt Sam told you these things because I don't want to see you in a bad position. I want to see you taken care of. So that's everything for now. I don't really have anything else going on personally. I'm still getting over this cold/sinus infection. I have headaches all the time because the air is so dry because of all the snow and everything else. Sounds weird. Snow is wet. You'd think the air would not be dry if there's snow falling down, but it is. So I'm still trying to get over that and, deal with all my car shit that I've just detailed. But other than that, we're all doing really good around here. Thank God my daughter was not in the car with me when I got my car accident. Nobody got hurt, so we're all good for there. And, just living our best lives. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Almost got off this entire live stream without talking about the fact that tomorrow is the day that BTS's new album comes out. Is tomorrow, right? No, it's not tomorrow. It's Friday. Friday is the day that BTS's new album comes out. I've seen some pictures online. That shit looks really big. It looks like it's around the same size as like the School Love Affair Special Edition. Like it's a bigger girl. It's a bigger girl. But I haven't really talked to you guys about how I feel about the songs that I've heard so far from the album. I haven't talked about that much. And to be honest with you, I'm worried. You know, BTS is a group that I have a complicated emotional spectrum for because when it comes to the actual members of the group and the actual music, I enjoy a lot of what BTS does. And if you take the noise from fan wars and all the other bullshit out of the equation, BTS is a great experience for someone who enjoys K-pop. But I have not been best pleased with the musical trajectory that they have taken in the last year. When Map of the Soul Persona came out, I was excited about Ratman's intro because it kind of went back to like their No More Dream kind of era and that kind of thing. But the album itself, I really only vibed with Home. Boy with Love was okay. Make It Right, I heard it on the radio actually several times after the album came out, and I was glad for that. But it really didn't speak to me. Home was probably the one song on the album that I'm like, okay, this I fucks with. Then the BTS OST album came out. I actually think that the OST for the game is a much better album than Map of the Soul Persona. But I've heard Ego now, and I've heard Suga's, is it his intro or outro? I think it's his outro, maybe. And I've heard Black Swan. And y'all, I don't know what the hell is going on with this album. I really don't. First of all, I'm kind of half mad because we had all thought that we were going to be following the Jungian school of thought with Persona and Ego and everything else, and that got totally thrown out the window. I'm upset that they're not the same size because they are related, and it'd be nice on the shelf for them all to be the same size, but these songs are all so wildly different in terms of tempo and theme and sound, and none of them are really hitting my personal mark of like Samantha's preferences, that I'm just really worried that this might signal the end of my kind of like spiritual connection to BTS, if you will. Like, I'm always gonna love Namjoon. Unless he pulls a Sungri, I'm always gonna love Namjoon because he is the bae, for real. Like, I love the way he thinks. I love the way he sounds. I love how fucking goofy he is. Also, I know he slings mad dick. I mean, I just love that kid. But I'm tired of trying to find something I like on a project. That is exhausting. I don't like having to go through that mental exercise. And I'm not going to continue to throw money after a group that I have to force myself to find something I enjoy. Like that's just not I wouldn't do that with anybody else. Like I already went through my whole conversation about how I feel about Red Velvet and, some of the projects that I really wasn't feeling as much and continuing to try to hang in there. I sat through Summer Magic, Really Bad Boy, and day one and day two of the Reva Festival. And I personally don't want to do that. I don't want to do that with BTS. And I felt like I've already had to sit through Persona. I felt like I had to sit through a few of the B-sides from the Love Yourself projects. And I just don't want to feel like I'm sitting through tracks waiting for something good, especially when I know that BTS is capable of making full ass albums that I love. And maybe it's because I'm old. I'm sure it's because I'm old. I'm sure it's because I'm 40 years old. Maybe it's because I'm old, but I'm pretty sure it's because I'm old. But when I look at a project like School Love Affair, or I look at a project like Dark and Wild, or I look at a project like the Young Forever project, I'm like, you are capable of making albums that are majority hits. You are capable of making albums that have no skips. And to go from making an album that I personally felt like was no skips to making an album that I have to hunt through to find something I like, that's not the way, that's not the trend I'm trying to follow with you. I'm trying to love you. Let me love you. I feel like fucking Mario. You should let me love you. Let me be the one to give you everything you want and need. I love that song. That song was the number one song of the nation when my daughter was born. I feel a spiritual connection to that song because of that. But anyway, I'm digressing. I don't want to keep hunting and pecking looking for something to like. All Night was also the best song on the BTS World OST, by the way. I don't know if I've said that out loud, but it was. Rest in peace, Juice World. But yeah, I don't want to hunt and peck for something to love, especially after all this time we spent together. I feel like, for those of us who have been fans for a minute, that was a fucking bone. You know, I looked at the track list because it was posted online, and I'm glad to see, all of the LGBT representation on the album. Thank you. Appreciate you. But I don't know if it's just because Big Hit is trying to create projects that have the most international appeal without going full English, but is it really necessary to have some of these collaborations? Like, was anybody really sitting in the cut saying, you know what I really would like to hear? I would really like to hear what Sia has to say with BTS. Like, I don't need that. I want them to do the things that they do best. If it means getting back into the old shithole studio that you used to be in, that's fine. And I'm not trying to take away from their growth as artists. I'm not trying to prevent them from taking advantage of opportunities to work with people and, learn new things. But let's call a spade a spade. Make it right didn't sound like BTS to me. The song that the Chainsmokers did with BTS was not my fave. I was glad that Halsey decided to record Boy with Love and just be like a feature on a true BTS song. But like some of the other stuff that they're collabing with people, I'm like, I don't understand. Like either it sounds like you threw this person on a pre-existing track or they had a pre-existing track that they threw BTS on. None of the things that they've done with people outside of Steve Aoki have felt like true collaborations to me. Steve Aoki is the only one where the stuff that they did with him, it really felt like they were in the lab together, mixing it up, making it happen. But everything else has felt like either I wrote a song that you can record, or you wrote a song that, or you wrote a song that I'm gonna record. Like it felt like that. Like it didn't feel like actually working together to come up with something. Hey, Alex. And so with that being said, I'm not holding out a lot of hope for this next project. And I need something good to listen to. I need something fun. I need something that, makes me happy. And I'm just afraid I'm gonna be let down. And it sucks because, they're such a big deal. They're such a big deal. And I like them so much. I think it might have been a year or two ago. Probably maybe 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure it's been 2 years ago. But I think about 2 years ago, I told everybody that, like, BTS was my second favorite group behind Shiny. Like, I said that in bold print here on the channel. And since then, I've bought fucking Barbie dolls and Funko Pops and all kinds of other. I bought 2 fucking packs of their Uno cards. Like, I really am out here supporting them in a real way. I've bought stuffed animals and pillows and all kinds of shit. I'm really out here trying to be, I'm trying to help them achieve what their dreams are, whatever. But music wise, I need them to give back to me. I need them to give me something, And if the new fans that they've attracted with this middle of the road mainstream pop sound that they're going for is the audience that they're trying to cater to now, that really sucks. Because I can promise you, those of us who like BTS before Wings, we're going to be around a lot longer. Or at least we're trying to be around a lot longer if you can give us the shit we want to hear. But yeah, some of these new fans, they're really on it for the clout train. They're really on it so that they can, say stand BTS and try to win these popularity awards. But yeah, like, for those of us who have been around and have liked you for the music that you released before, give us something to love. Give us something to wrap our arms around. Give us something to reminisce about. Give us something to replay. When I think about the songs that I want to hear from BTS, it is so rare for me to reach for anything newer than Wings. It is so rare. Like, when I reach back into, like, old BTS songs to listen to, I'm listening to Dope. I'm listening to Converse High. I'm listening to fucking Coffee. I'm listening to Tomorrow. That's a huge look. I'm listening to Tomorrow. Like, I'm really reaching back in the archives because that's the stuff that I relate to, and it's the stuff that feels the most honest as well. Like, it doesn't that's those are the songs that don't feel like a cash grab. And I talked about it on, it was either my last live, I think it was my last live stream. I talked about, BTS growing, and about how growing with BTS, we rooted for them because we feel like they shared so much with us, like, through social media, through their YouTube channel, through all these different avenues. I felt like, we were kind of running together, and the music they were putting out, we felt like they were putting it out from a really real place, and we were running with them, and we watched them craft this music. We listened to snippets of this music, and, we were there as part of the process. That's the other thing that feels so empty about this, is that, in the past, we were there as part of the process while they were making this music. And now you see how fucking busy they are, but we really don't feel like we're part of the process anymore. Like, we're not really in the studio with them. Like, after the songs are released, and they'll be like, here's the demo. But prior to that, no, it doesn't feel like we get any of that anymore. Our the stuff that we do get is heavily curated, and not at all organic or impromptu, spur of the moment like it used to be. And so this is just me being my boomer self and being like, I miss back in the day when they used to. That's just me. Take it with a grain of salt. But I really miss feeling like we were all in this together. We're all in there together. And we see it. Sorry. Tangentville. I mentioned that I bought 2 packs of the BTS Uno cards. I haven't opened them yet. Let me go get them. We'll open them together. Be right back. accidentally bought 2 packs of the BTS Uno cards. I had these cards in my cart, and for some reason, when I had them in my cart, I was like, did I already have that in my cart? I don't know. Add it to my cart. And yeah, end up with 2 packs. So that's me not paying attention. But these are the Uno BTS cards. And I have no idea what these look like because I have not watched a single unboxing of these. So let's open them up. There's a sticker on the top that you have to undo in order to get the little flap to open up. And it looks like it's 2 stacks of cards in here so far. Yeah, 2 stacks of cards. And the cards, oh, look at them. They're Love Yourself era images. And of course, Namjoon would be on the top because they knew that they were going to be sending these to me. And he's my bias. All right. So I'm going to open up this first stack of cards. And I'm not going to open up the second stack of cards. I don't think that that's necessary right now. Okay, so it looks like the cards have different members for different numbers. So like the 0 is Namjoon, and then the 1 is Jin, and then the 2 is Suga, and the 3 is J-Hope, and the 4 is Jimin, but it's a different concept photo. That's weird because these are all the same concept photos. This is the jeans concept photos. But this is this persona photos? No. This is definitely a different concept for sure. I can't remember exactly which, or is this the Haute Couture concept? This is from the Haute Couture concept, right? Anyway, different concept photo. Okay, back to the jeans concept again. What's that about? That's strange. And then this one was the Desert Soft Boy concept. Different concept again. And then the Haute Couture concept. There we go. And then back to the jeans again. All right. I haven't seen Jungkook yet. Weird. J-Hope again. There you go. Different concept. That's the Pizza Palace concept, I think. Then another for the Pizza Palace. And Pizza Palace. Oh, there's Jungkook. Pizza Palace picture. And then we're back to the same, it's a different color, but it's the same images. And then the draw cards are a little bit different. Okay, let's look at those. So the draw 4, the wild card, which this wild card picture is from Young Forever. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? That's Young Forever, isn't it? My camera's being shitty right now. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then this is like a random generic concert looking thing. Okay. So that is what the BTS Uno cards look like. And yeah, that is bizarre. That's bizarre. Like, it would have made more sense to me if they had just stuck with one concept and carried it all the way through. But who reaches all the way back to Young Forever after doing a bunch of Love Yourself concept photos? That is so bizarre. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Especially because, like, if you look at the packaging, I'm going to close this up real quick and then I'm going to show you the back of the packaging because I don't feel like the front of the packaging really does much of anything. But the back of the packaging has the black and white kind of denim jeansy concept. So like if you had done all the cards with that, that would have made a lot of sense because that's the picture you have on the back. But to reach all the way back to Young Forever, that is crazy. Well, yes, whatever. But these are really cheap. So if you're thinking about buying them, they're very affordable. This pack of cards, because I have an Amazon Prime membership, I didn't pay shipping for it. But this pack of cards was like $6. And Uno is a game that I really, really like. So this is not a waste of money for me. Uno is a game I actually play. In fact, the only thing that would have been better is they had a BTS version of Phase 10, because Phase 10 is another one of my favorite card games. But yeah, this is a game that I would be willing to play. I'm glad to have a BTS version of it because it's something that I would have wanted regardless. I actually don't think I have a set of Uno cards, so this is very handy because I like games. I have a game that I bought over Christmas time. It's this game right here called Left, Right, Center. I collect these little bitty games. I don't buy like big board games frequently because they take up a lot of space, but stuff like this pack of cards, these are really easy to pull out in a pinch and have a little entertainment. So, yeah, not wasted for me. Not at all. But yeah, that was bizarre. You got an unboxing after all. Look, we did an unboxing after all. Um, I'm going to be poor for a while. I've already talked about my kind of financial woes, but if I wasn't poor right now, what I had been looking at on Amazon that I wanted to buy were some of the K-pop coloring books. I was on Amazon probably about 2 months ago, and I was looking at different things on Amazon because I had a gift card, and I ended up spending my gift card on hair products because I'm vain. But anyway, I was on Amazon and I saw all these K-pop coloring books, and I was thinking about buying a couple of them just to see like what the content is, because some of them you could very easily recognize who the idol was, what it was going to be about. Some of them were for, more recent groups. A lot of them were for like second generation groups, ton of them. But there was one in particular that I think like the main photo on the coloring book was a picture of Minho, and I was like, all right, already you're speaking my language. You want me to buy you. But yeah, I was wanting to buy a K-pop coloring book. So I might still do that. It might be a while before I do that because, again, like I said, I'm about to be broke girl central. But that's something that I'd like to show on the channel because it is a little bit different. It's a little bit something strange. But more than K-pop right now, because like I said, K-pop's been kind of slow lately, and I'm not trying to force myself to like things I don't want to. I have really been like in the boys love scene. Like that's been my main gig right now. And I'm probably gonna start doing more on my other channel in terms of talking about boys love, just because that's where I did my drama reviews, and I've done a couple of boys love drama reviews here. But I don't know, it's a weird, my audience, those of you who watch me on a regular basis, I shouldn't say my audience because I'm not any kind of performer. Those of you who watch me on a regular basis, you mostly expect me to talk about K-pop stuff. And I know that if there was a Venn diagram, there is a good chunk of overlap between the boys love people and the K-pop people. But at the same time, I know some of you are totally not into that scene. And when I have those conversations, they like do this number with you. So I kind of want to put it in a place where more people are interested in that. But yeah, boys love has been like my main gig right now. Like it is the thing that I am like the most excited about right now, I guess I should say. For instance, I am watching, oh thank you, for instance, right now I am watching Why Are You. I could talk about that fucking show so much right now. I'm not gonna, but I might start doing episode reviews on my other channel because Why Are You is tripping. Tripping. You had a couple who they hated each other last week. Now they have shared like 3 almost kisses. I don't understand it. And then next week, some people are going to end up shirtless on top of each other. I don't know. I don't know. Things are moving really fast. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. But for those of you who do watch Boys Love, I'll probably start talking about it there because there's so much to talk about. For instance, uh, for those of you who don't watch Boys Love, I'm just going to put this out there because I feel like you can relate to this without having any backstory of anything else. I think you would hear about something like this and you'd be like, what the fuck is going on? So there's a guy who is dating a girl, but he has a crush on another guy who's friends with this girl. Now, he has told this guy who he has a crush on that I don't like you. I just like teasing you. I'm not gay. I just like to have fun by like giving you gay tease, I guess. So, this girl that he's supposed to be dating, he has never kissed this girl. He has never tried to have sex with this girl. I mean, I feel like you probably should try kissing before you try having sex with somebody. But still, he hasn't done either of those things, like nothing. And it's not because he's such a gentleman. It's just because he's like, I need to go out with a girl so that people don't suspect anything. But he's in an argument with the friend of the girl who's like, I think you're gay because you've never made a move on my friend and you keep like getting all in my face and getting in my personal space. And, I think it's because you like me. I think you're teasing me because you like me. Why does the character say, if I was gay, would I do this? And then gives him like the full on mouth smooches. I am sorry, but it is 2020. Who is proving their not gayness by doing gay things? That is so ridiculous and just dumb and like, what? I'm not gay. In fact, I'm going to prove I'm not gay by totally giving you this blowjob. What? It makes no sense. You've got a girl who you're supposedly with, that you supposedly like, who's your main squeeze, that you've never laid a single finger on, but the guy who you're trying to prove that you're not gay with, you decide to fucking inspect his tonsils? Like, this makes no... Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And it's moments like that that are like, I have to talk to somebody about this. Like, this is the reason why you watch Boys Love and then you get in front of a camera and you talk about it. Because it's like, I need somebody else to tell me that this actually happened. I need somebody else to confirm that this is as wild as I believe that it is. Because it's just, who does that? Who does that? And I'm not on some old, no homo type shit. Like, I'm totally an ally. But I'm just saying, like, who does that? Who does that? Even if you were like super closeted, how would it cross your mind to be like, I know how I'll prove that I'm not gay so that nobody suspects that I'm gay. I'll kiss a man. Come on, y'all. Okay, so the comment here is, I've never seen a boys love drama and I don't know where to start. Can you give me some good recommendations or tell a couple of your faves? Tiana, let me just tell you right now, I'm about to give you some recommendations and I'm going to ruin your fucking life. So, obviously, the first recommendation I would give anybody talking about boys love is Love by Chance. And the reason why that is my recommendation right off the bat is because there's a lot of things that connect to Love by Chance that if you're trying to get into boys love, it is a great place to start. So for instance, I'm currently watching a show called Why Are You? The only reason I am watching this fucking show is because an actor on the show by the name of Saint was in Love by Chance. And there was big drama behind the scenes of Love by Chance. So I am watching Why Are You because I'm trying to float him these views. I'm trying to help bring up his profile because he went through some bullshit. Also, the most talked about boys love in Thailand last year was a show called Farm Type. Farm Type, those two characters were first discussed / introduced in Love by Chance. Therefore, watch Love by Chance because it gives you an introduction, which then leads you into Tharn Type. And Tharn Type is good. It's not good like quality writing and plotline and Academy Award winning performances. It's good like, ooh girl, did you see what they just did? Is that kind of good. And so Tharn Type definitely is one you want to watch. Another show that I would recommend, even though it is extremely frustrating, like super frustrating, Theory of Love. I actually really dig Theory of Love. I thought it was a very nice show. Um, the two main characters will get on your fucking nerves, but the friendship group I really appreciate. There's a secondary couple that I really, really like, and I thought it was filmed very prettily. So yeah, I recommend Theory of Love just on its own. I recommend Love by Chance just to get you started in a broader universe. Um, Two shows I'm going to recommend, but I feel really weird recommending them because they are on this weird borderline of like, is this shit appropriate or not? I would recommend Lovesick. So, Lovesick, I watched before I read the book on Wattpad, and the book is better. I'm just gonna say it flat out. The book is better. But Lovesick, I really like this show because to me, the storyline for Lovesick felt very real for who the characters were. That's the best way to put it. Like, the story Lovesick is about two young men, and the one young man is dating a girl, and his parents don't like this girl. They want him to date a friend's daughter, like basically an arranged relationship. And so he tells another boy that he goes to school with, can you pretend to be my boyfriend? That way my parents will think I'm gay and they won't try to force me to date their friend's daughter. And since you're just kind of like a fake boyfriend, I can still continue to date the girl I'm actually interested in while telling my parents that we're together. But, of course, because this is boys' love, they end up falling for each other. Now, the book is way better because the book concentrates on the storyline of the two main characters, whereas the show brings in a whole bunch of people who you don't give a fuck about, who are basically a drain on your time, and you try to fast forward. However, I still recommend watching Lovesick because Captain, who plays No, and White, who plays. Fuck, what is his character's name? Cannot remember now. My mind is. It's late at night. Anyway, those two boys, they are so electric. Like the chemistry between the two of them, even though they are young actors and they're awkward actors, the moments that they spend together, you're like, "Aw, is this what it's like when little boys fall in love with each other? I had no idea. This is so adorable." Like that was the feeling I got. It wasn't one of those like, "Oh, this is so hot" type of things. One, because they're like super duper young, and two, because I'm not a pervert. But the way that they were around each other, like the little moments where they like try to link pinkies with each other, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet. Like, this is super adorable. You two are so cute. So that's why I recommend Lovesick. The other show that I recommend that I said is also super weird to recommend just because, again, young guys, like really, really young guys, a show called Make It Right. So, Make It Right and Lovesick, I watch both of them on YouTube. Theory of Love is on YouTube. Love by Chance is on YouTube. Foreign Type is the only one that's not on YouTube, but you can go to a website called My Drama List, and you will find links to watch all of Foreign Type for free. So, don't lose hope. It's out there. Anyway, back to what I was saying about Make It Right. Make It Right is a show about a school of young boys, because in Thailand, I guess they have boys' schools and girls' schools. School of young boys, and all the boys are all falling in love with each other. Like that's the best. That's the best summation I can give you. All the boys are falling in love with each other. But the reason why Make It Right is such a good show to watch is because a lot of the guys that are currently super popular actors in Boys Love got their start in the show Make It Right. So like Tin Can, Meal Plan. Okay, the actor who plays Tin is an actor named Mean. The actor who plays Can is an actor named Plan. These Thai names are confusing, guys. Anyway, They were both in Make It Right. There's several other actors who are doing things now that they got their start as like background kids in Make It Right. And a lot of them have series that are coming up that were from Make It Right. And then the main characters in Make It Right, T-Fuse, they are in, they had a cameo appearance in Why Are You? So, yeah, they, oh, and also one of my favorite up and coming actors in all of Boys Love, a kid named Ohm. He is in Make It Right, and he plays a character named From. That kid is a star. Like seriously, that little boy is a fucking star. But anyway, Make It Right. You can also watch that on YouTube. No big deal. But Make It Right is about these high school boys who find themselves having relationships with each other because they're having a hard time with the girls in their life and just kind of going through like, puppy love, basically. And so I enjoy the show. It's high key ridiculous. It has some really broad comedy to it. But again, they're all so very, very cute. And so many of the boys from that show went on to do big things. Now, season one of Make It Right is a lot more lighthearted, whereas season two gets pretty dark. So spoiler alert. Um, for the next maybe 2 minutes, I'll be spoiling part of season two of Make It Right. In season two of Make It Right, there was a storyline about a character who has their sex tape released to the internet and the aftermath of having your sex tape released and what it does to your psyche and how it affects your ability to operate in society when you've been exposed in that manner. And that's the end of spoiler. So Make It Right season two is not super happy, fun, friendly. However, the actor who plays From and the actor who plays Book do an excellent job with their characters in that storyline. And it's part of the reason why the actor who plays From, Ohm, is somebody I'm looking out for so much because his acting in season two is really, really good. Like he sprinkles special sauce on his performance. So look out for him. He did a series with Singto called He Is Coming to Me. Very, very good series, very slept on. I wish I could tell you where to watch it, but I had to watch it all kinds of places. I was watching it on Vimeo. I was watching it all Daily Motion. Like I was watching it all kinds of different places because it's so hard to find. But Ohm is a great actor. I really can't wait to see his career progress. He's doing really great things. I highly, highly recommend Make It Right. For him alone, but for Peak Boom as well, because they're a really cute couple. Speaking of Ohm and Singto, I cannot believe I got in front of this camera and am giving Boys Love recommendations and didn't say a single thing about Sodas. Sodas, watch it. That's really all I can say. Like, just fucking watch it. Christ and Singto are the actors who play Kung Pop and Artit in Sodas. And Singto is my favorite Boys Love actor. Like, how do you spell that one? How do you spell Sotus? Sotus. Sotus is also on YouTube, by the way, for free. All the parts. Official links, too. But Sotus is about a university hazing program, and it's not super graphic in the hazing, but the whole show is about the hazing program and how the freshmen are dealing with it and how the hazers are trying to impress upon the freshmen about how important the process is, while the freshmen are saying the process is not more valuable than the people, and if the people don't get why they need the process is not effective, basically. But in the midst of all that bullshit is a love story with Singto and Christ. They play Kung Pop and Artit. So Singto plays Kung Pop and Christ plays Artit, and they're lovely. They're really, really lovely. Like, there's not a bunch of skinship and kissing and stuff in this show. at all. But Singto, who plays Kong Pab, he is so incredibly charming. And, over the years on my channel, I have tried to express to people why it is I love Minho and what it is I love about Minho. And when I've tried to explain it to people, I've had a really hard time putting it out there. Like I've used all my vocabulary, and some people just still don't get it. But if you've ever watched Sodas, the way that Kong Pab, the character Kong Pab, kind of like charms everyone around him and makes everyone around him fall in love with him, that's kind of the way I feel about Minho from Shiny. Like, I feel like, even if you're not the target of his affections, just being around him, he's so fucking charming and wonderful that you just can't help falling in love with him. And even if he doesn't love you back, you're just like, it doesn't matter. I just think you're wonderful because you are wonderful. And that's the way I felt about Kong Pab's character in the show. Like, there's one girl who gives him a love confession. He's like, I'm sorry, but I'm just not gonna be able to do it. And you can't even be fucking mad at him because he didn't do anything to lead her on or nothing at all. It's just the fact that he's just so fucking charming and beautiful that you're just like, I love you. I love you. And God, if I was the focus of your love, I would die. So, yeah, definitely Sodas. I cannot believe I was getting on here on Al Gore's internet and not saying anything about Sodas. Who am I? Who am I? So, the recommendations I've given you so far: Love by Chance, Farm Type, Make It Right, Love Sick, Sodas, and Theory of Love. So I've given you 6 recommendations so far. I feel like I should end it on an odd number because odd numbers are lucky. So lucky number 7. Oh, lucky number 7, Until We Meet Again. Until We Meet Again is a series that is currently airing. It has 15 episodes out so far. All of them can be found on YouTube through official links. It's going to have 18 episodes, so there's 3 more episodes left before the series finishes. But Until We Meet Again has trigger warning, the very first 5 minutes of the show deal with a double suicide. So if you cannot handle that and multiple discussions about this suicide throughout the series, this is not the series for you. But if you can handle that, especially because they're very graphic about showing the method of suicide as well. If you can handle that, Until We Meet Again is a good show. And it's good because it's one of the only shows that I've seen for Thai Boys Love that really deals with suicide based on, the homophobia in your community and how it kind of pushes you over the edge. And, it is the story of a couple who were together in, I would say, maybe the 80s. And at the time, Thailand was extremely homophobic, and their fathers were beating them, and their community didn't understand them. And it got to the point where one character felt like his life was useless. And so he picked up a gun and he shot himself in the head. And then his boyfriend watched him do this, like in front of his eyes. And he goes over and picks up the same gun and kills himself. And then 30 years later, they're reincarnated and they are in college together and they see each other and they realize that they are these reincarnated lovers. And now it's a chance to live their love story again, but understanding about how their community drove them to suicide before and trying to find a way to live out their love story without having the same kind of tragic ending and the same kind of social abandonment that they suffered when they initially tried to be in love with one another. And so that is something that I have enjoyed watching so far, is that show, because it is different, the reincarnation story, and also, the whole suicide thing. Like it's very different for Boys Love. It's still fairly lighthearted, honestly. Like there's still a lot of fun little moments here and there, but it can get pretty somber, pretty, pretty kind of ugh in a few moments. But the show is called Until We Meet Again. Um, 4 words. Until we meet again. But yeah, definitely check it out. Like I said, it's very different. It's very different. I'm so excited. Thank you. I've been looking for some good romance. Thanks for the trigger warning for Until We Meet Again. I will make sure I'm in the right frame of mind. I love reincarnation stories. Me too, girl. Me too. He's Coming to You, or He's Coming to Me, is a show that I didn't put on my recommends because it is so very hard to find. But the show is called not He Is, but He's Coming to Me. It stars Singto and Om. That story I really, really like. I think it's got like 8 episodes, but again, it's really hard to find. But He's Coming to Me is a show about a kid who dies of a heart attack. And his ghost is lingering around a cemetery because his death has like some unresolved element to it. And a kid who used to visit the cemetery with his family sees the ghost. He can see ghosts. And so he makes it his mission to figure out what it was that was lingering with the death of this young man that won't allow him to move on to the afterlife. And that's what the show is about, which sounds like a very strange premise to base a boy's love on. However, it's actually pretty interesting in terms of plot because it kind of gets down to it. And when it finally resolves itself, you're like, oh wow, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. So yeah, I think once you kind of get through it, it's nice. And there's some other elements in the show that I found to be very well done. For instance, one of the characters has to come out to his mother. And, you know, in Boys Love, coming out moments are either like, coming out and people are like, I hate you, get away from me. Or it's like, son, I've always loved you forever, don't worry about it. And this is very much more on the spectrum of son, I've always loved you forever, don't worry about it. But also, like, the mom is like telling her own story and they have a moment together, which just makes it all feel very like it's more than kind of the blanket I understand and I'm going to love you anyway no matter what you do type of acceptance. It's much more like I have a personal story of my own which has given me the ability to embrace you in this moment and give you no judgment. And I think that a lot of times that's a lot more real when it comes to children coming out to their parents because like with Dwayne Wade and his wife and their daughter Zaya, um, a lot of times if you don't have a personal experience with the LGBT community, it can be difficult to know kind of how to be the most supportive parent. So, like with Dwayne Wade and his wife, what they did is they reached out to members of the LGBT community and asked them, what is the best way to support my child? And their acceptance came from having to kind of have someone show them the best way to be supportive. Like they still love their son slash son now daughter regardless, but they needed kind of a pathway to understanding in order for them to continue to parent this child the best way they can. And that's why I say it feels more realistic to say I've had this experience and because of this experience I am prepared to love you to my fullest. Because sometimes parents are like, I'll accept you, but give me time. And this was not one of those, I'll accept you, but give me time. This was like, no, I get it. I get it because I've lived a life and I'm prepared to be the best parent for you. And I really found that moment to be very sweet and very lovely. But I've been talking for far too long. I don't even know what time it is where I'm at anymore. What time is it? Oh my gosh, it's almost midnight where I live. What the hell am I doing with my life? Why am I like this? But thank you guys for tuning into my live stream. This has got to be the most random live stream I have ever done. Like, literally, it went from talking about K-pop current events to talking about car insurance and coverage to talking about boys love. Like, the only thing that would be more random was if I was to give you guys like a random vegan recipe at the end of this. And since I don't have one in front of me, actually, I do have one in front of me, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it, even though I literally have this book of vegan recipes. But I'm not going to give you guys a recipe because that is not what I was intending to do tonight. I was going to give a little quick follow up on how my life has been slowly falling apart. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. As always, I love talking to you all. It's always fun, it's always a blast. And if you wanted to hear more about like the K pop talk, once this what do? They do that thing where they like examine your video to make sure you don't have any copyrighted material. Once all the processing is finished, go back and watch this, and the first part of this video, I promise you, straight up K-pop talk. I talk about IZ*ONE, I talk about Chen, I talk about Luna, I talk about Red Velvet for an extended period of time. Lots and lots of K-pop talk. So if you're here for that, I swear it's here. You're just gonna have to watch this when this re-uploads. So thank you guys for watching. As always, you guys have a good night. Try to stay healthy. For those of you who have not been taking care of yourself because you feel like you're indestructible because you're young, okay, you're gonna pay for that, but okay. All right then, y'all take care. Bye.